Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to make an updated non-command sponsored video because I made one in the summertime and I didn't know as much as I do now, and so I just wanted to update it because I see a lot of questions and concerns about people saying that you cannot come non-command sponsored and that it's not allowed, and your husband or your spouse, whoever's coming active duty, is gonna get in trouble for coming or anything along those lines. Basically, I just wanted to tell you the steps, or like just what you need to do once you get here or before arriving, as far as what I know. Let's just get into that. So the first thing you're gonna want to do is, obviously, when you come to non-command sponsored, and I'm not just talking about Kunsan. Non-command sponsored anywhere means that you're not on your active duty's orders, and you'll have to basically support yourself on the economy of where you live. But as far as Korea, because I see this come up a lot, Kunsan, Osan specifically, obviously all the other bases, but those are the two Air Force bases. You have to pay your own plane ticket here. You can check like Google Flights, and then you can turn on the notification to notify you when there's lower prices, or it's been said that like 6 weeks out it's cheaper, or upon arrival. Okay, you'll fly into the Incheon airport in Seoul. And depending on where you're going, to Kunsan, which is more popular for the unaccompanied tour, literally right when you go out of customs, you go out the doors to outside, and then you'll see this blue building. It's gonna be on your, let's see, your right when you walk out of the building, the airport building. You'll see this blue building, and you go there and you tell them Kunsan, and I'm pretty sure they leave every hour. And yeah, I think it's like 40 bucks for a bus ticket, and then you just go to, I believe it's gate 9C. Then you'll have to go back the direction you just came from outside the airport and cross the street, and then you'll see gate 9C. You'll have to walk a little bit down the sidewalk again, and then you just wait there. The buses will say where it's headed, and if you don't know, you just take your ticket to one of the bus drivers. They leave exactly the time it says. They will arrive like 4 minutes or 5 minutes early, and they will leave exactly the ticket time. So you have to make sure you're out there, then they do not wait. So you just show them, and sometimes they'll seem a little rude, but don't. Just show them the ticket, and then they'll say yes or no, and then they'll tear something off, and then you just get on. And then it's about a 3.5 hour ride. It's the very last stop the bus will make, and then there's only like, it makes like 4 stops, I think. But it's about 3.5 hours, and then from there, hopefully your spouse can come get you with a base taxi. If not, try to get a taxi, more specifically a base taxi. Have them call you one so you can get on base, because all other taxis cannot go on base. Like just the economy ones, they have to say base on top, like on top of the car. You know, where it usually says taxi, it'll say base. So yes, and then that's gonna be about I assume a 20,000 won expense. So just make sure you have some won on you, or once you get on base for the taxi, you just tell them to take you to an ATM, and yes. But hopefully your spouse can get to the Kunsan City bus station and come pick you up in a base taxi. That's how I did it, and it was very easy because I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. Oh, it wasn't stressful. It was just kind of nerve-wracking for me because I had never been in a new country by myself. I've never flown alone, so it was just really different, but it's a very easy process. And yes, just look for that blue building, get on the bus at exactly the time it says, and then it's a 3.5-hour bus ride and you're done. After that, once you're here, you can stay in the dorms, or like if you want to wait a while, it doesn't matter. You can stay in the dorms for up to 30 days. Just make sure your spouse gets the paper signed. He has to get it approved by his quad mates and stuff like that. If you're trying to stay at Dreamville, which is the apartment complexes right off of base, Miss Rosa is really nice, and there's an office and it's always open, and you can actually email her. I'll leave her email in the description below. She's super nice, and rent here for the 2-bedroom is about, give or take, $1,400 a month. Utilities included. You can have the cleaning ladies come clean if you want to. I don't, just because I like to make this feel like my house. And yeah, and if you want an apartment tour of the 2-bedroom, I'll link that video up here, because it was like one of my first videos in Korea. And they also have 1-bedroom, but when we originally had the 1-bedroom, and it didn't come with an oven, but then I talked to somebody else and theirs did have an oven. So I would just suggest, if you only need the 1-bedroom, it's about only $100 less. And just look at the unit, and if it doesn't have an oven, then I would suggest coming to a 2-bedroom, because it's only $100 more. And it's very convenient living right here, because you are able to go and you can live wherever you want. It's just more convenient living here because of how close we are to base. And it has everything, like right in the shop out here. You have a 7-Eleven, so if you're thirsty, whatever, or if you want to try random Korean snacks one time, it's right there. They have 2 clubs right here. They have a restaurant called the Galbi, which is the Korean barbecue, where you cook the meat in front of you. And then there's also a bike shop, which is where everybody gets their bikes on base, basically. And so yeah, that once you sign your lease for Dreamville, make sure you take that and a copy of your spouse's orders to the housing office on base, update you, because it'll take up to 90 days to get your OHA, and you will still be receiving your previous BAH or wherever you came from, your housing allowance, up until it switches. Here you're only going to get exactly what the rent is. That's how OHA works. If you don't know, you don't get like BAH, you get an allowance. It'll say you get $1,200 a month. You're going to get that $1,200 regardless if your rent is like $500 or not. You get to pocket the rest. Not here. OHA, you only get what your rent is. So you get this place paid for. Fast what order you go in, but you have to take your ID to get registered on base. You go to DBIDS, the security forces office. I'm not sure. They actually just moved offices. Their office is actually torn down now, so hopefully your spouse knows where that is, because I'm sure they have to get there for in processing. You have to get your ID card registered. You can also get a ration card, which will be good for up until your I don't want to say husband's, because it could be wife, your spouse's DRO's date, so a full year. And then you'll be able to shop at the commissary in BX by yourself with that ration card. Okay, if you're gonna buy a car, it's kind of a process, but there's usually always cars being sold, so you can look obviously wherever you want to buy a car. On Kunsan, there's usually not as many cars being sold as Osan, I assume, because there's more families there. But we found a car here for $1,000, and you have to fill out a bunch of paperwork. And then the process for getting your license is you have to get this ETP approved, which is exception to policy, because basically if your husband is a low rank, which mine is an A1C, they're not allowed to drive or have a car here, because there is limited parking spots, and it just does not have means to support that many cars on base because it's a smaller base. So above, I think you have to be a master sergeant to be able to have a car, and you can actually have one shipped here if you are able to, I assume. If your husband is lower rank and you cannot have a car here, or he cannot have a car here, you can fill out the exception to policy, and he has to send it up to his commander and get a bunch of signatures. And once that comes back, then you take the driving test at, I don't know what the building's called, but it's literally the first building on your left once you get onto base. And it's very easy and common sense, and multiple choice. And then you take that, and then after all that, then you go back to DBID Security Forces, and I think we might have done it wrong, but you have to get the car re-registered, deregistered from the person before, registered in your name, have proof of insurance and all this kind of stuff. But you have to go to the Korean DMV to do that. And then you bring all that stuff back to security forces on base, registered on base, and you get this red driver's license that says SOFA whatever Korean license. I don't know. Like, they don't have traffic police, so they have traffic cameras. So if you do drive, be aware of where the traffic cameras are, because you don't get pulled over tickets. Once you deregister your car, you'll be like either shocked that you have no tickets, like I will be shocked, or I mean, you're gonna get some tickets. And I think they could be pretty expensive, because my friend just left here and she had a $70 speeding ticket, but it's pretty obvious where all the traffic cameras are, so it won't be that bad. Transportation wise, if you don't get a car, when we first got here, we did not have a car. I got here in late May, and we didn't get a car until July, I think. Yeah, July-ish. So we took taxis, which from the base to the town, it's about 12,000 won, which is about $10 depending on the exchange rate. And I mean, that obviously adds up. So it was just kind of like, we didn't really want to go anywhere, so we also took the bus, which is very cheap. It's like $1 something per ride, and you can get this little T-Money card, which works for buses, taxis, subways in Korea. And then, but it just takes forever. It takes like 45 minutes to get to the town, which is literally only like 10 minutes away, because it has so many stops and it goes all the way around. So if you're not on a time crunch and you want to save money, I would take the bus, but it's just a long time. We also have bikes, which we used to get from Dreamville to the base. In the summertime, that was more convenient, but now it's really cold outside, so we don't use our bikes, because, well, obviously since we have a car. So yeah, you can bike, you can use the city bus, you can use taxis, and you can also, you don't always have to use a base taxi. It's just convenient to go from here to town with the base taxi. But if you see what they call a kimchi cab, which is just the economy taxis, Dreamville actually has these business cards that says "Take me to Dreamville" in Korean, so you can just show them that and they'll know exactly where to go. So as far as your significant other living with you, they are not allowed to come on and off base during curfew hours. That is that's given, that was a common sense statement, but they used to be a little bit more lenient, just because I mean, if you're coming straight home, it used to be okay, but new commander, new rules. So right now, if your husband's on swing shift or whatever, if they get called in at 3 a.m., they cannot go on or off base between the hours of 1 and 5 a.m. Again, that used to be different, and it might change with a new person coming whenever that they change again, but as of right now, they cannot. They would have to just go to their dorm. They will keep their dorm on base, and they'll have to keep that obviously nice, and because they'll still have room inspections and stuff like that, so it has to look like someone's living there, basically. And it also is up to your spouse's supervision and higher ups if they can live off base. So you have to make sure that your husband's supervision knows and is aware of him or her living off base, because some people are very against it and some people aren't. So yeah, just make sure it's approved. And exercises, they have to stay on base, which is usually a week long. Usually it's Monday to Friday. We just had one that was Wednesday to Wednesday. They have to stay on base. They cannot come off base. I know you can probably go visit them, but as a non-command sponsored, you kind of shouldn't go on base. You're allowed to, because you are a non-player, so it does not apply to you. Non-player means that you are able to go to the restaurant on base called Peppers and get food, or you're allowed to just go on base and whatever you need to do. But it's not recommended, because we are non-command sponsored, and there are people who do not approve of non-command sponsored, so you kind of want to lay low during that week. So just make sure you get your groceries and whatever you need for that whole week before the exercise starts. As of right now, non-command sponsored or no spouses or anybody that the mailbox is not assigned to, it has to be the active duty to check the mail no matter what. Like, I used to be able to check the mail, which I know this isn't a big deal, but sometimes it's not convenient for my husband to check the mail, and if we're expecting something, it would be easier for me to go get it. But somebody putting out the regulation that we cannot check the mail anymore, and that was just recently. And then, okay, so as far as the sofa stamp goes, you have to go to the immigration office, which is not very hard to find. I don't know like the address or anything. I could probably find it and link it down, or write it in the description box for you guys. But all you have to do is you take your husband's order. They don't have to be present, but it is, I mean, why wouldn't you want them to be present? Makes you feel more comfortable. And then there's a paper there that you fill out, and it's very easy. You take your passport and they stamp it, and it's very easy. They don't ask any questions. They just see your name on there, and it's very easy. So that's all you have to do for your sofa stamp. And you just have to do that within the first 90 days of you being here. Like, mine was about to be up August 23rd, and I think I got mine a week or two before that. There's people coming with kids. I currently, in this building, I live in building B, which is considered the family building because it has 2 rooms. I'm the only one without a kid. So everybody else, there's like probably 9 other families here. They all have 1 or more kids, obviously. And there is a 8-year-old who's here who is being homeschooled by her mom. So that is the option for schooling if you have a school-aged kid. There is a English school on the economy that you can go to, but I've heard it's very pricey. So, and I haven't heard of anybody who has taken advantage of that. So I would just look into homeschooling because it seems to work for them. So yes, questions at all, I would follow the Kunsan Non Command Sponsored page on Facebook and ask all of your questions there. I would not recommend having your husband ask questions to his squadron or anything. Don't do it, because people are really against it, and they're gonna say, no, you cannot go. It's gonna be really hard. Don't do it. It's gonna, I don't know, it's gonna get you in trouble. All of these random things. Do not just don't bother, because you can come. I mean, there's a bunch of people here right now, so just make sure you ask. You can leave questions down below and I will answer them, or you can add that page and ask them there. Don't be sad that your husband's getting orders here, because just know that you can come non-command sponsored anywhere. It's just, make sure you get the right information. For Osan, there is also a non-command sponsored page. I will write that in the description box below too, so you have all of these resources. I think that's everything. If you need anything else, just message, like I said, comment below or ask that group. And make sure you subscribe and like this video if this was helpful. I just want to spread the right information out there, because I've seen a lot of the wrong and people getting upset that there is unaccompanied tours coming up. But it is okay, and it's not bad living here. It's just different. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.